Hi, I'm Jessica Citizen from Player Attack. We are at GCAP 2012. I'm with Chris Avellone from Obsidian Entertainment. He's been running masterclasses and showing off his many and varied skills to the assembled masses.
Oh, thank you.
So can you give us a rough idea of what these many and varied skills are that you've been sharing today?
So I've been in game development for about 20 years, and as such, I've made so many mistakes. I wanted to make sure that nobody else makes those mistakes. So part of the master class at GCAP was I ran through sort of all the stages of design, goes through at our studio, and things like templates and how to approach design philosophies and things like that.
Cool. So you've been around for 20 years. You've done a bucket load of things. What are some names that people might know you from?
We recently turned out Fallout New Vegas. We also worked on Neverwinter Nights 2, Knights of the Republic 2. Back at Black Isle, we worked on the Icewind Dale series, Planescape Torment, and a whole variety of RPGs over the course of many years.
Because that is what Obsidian is best known for, really.
That is what we do.
And right now, you are actually working on 2 RPGs, correct. You personally.
Yep.
So that is Project Eternity, which is the new one, and right. Wasteland 2. What can you tell us about? Let's start with Wasteland. What can you tell us about Wasteland 2?
Currently, we're wrapping up pre-production for Wasteland 2. We've got a lot of the area designs all laid out, a lot of the dialogue written, and now we're just going into full scripting mode and actually building out the levels. And I got to see one of my levels being constructed a few weeks ago, and I was very, very excited about how fast it came together and how cool it looks.
But we've still got a while left that we have to wait before we can see it, though, right?
Apparently, yes, that is true. It'll be okay.
And Project Eternity, everyone is very, very excited about Project Eternity. It is officially the highest funded video games related project on Kickstarter. So how do you feel about that?
We are incredibly excited about that. And if you're one of the backers for Project Eternity, the team really, really appreciates all the support. And we never dreamed that it would actually hit that number. So now now we're recovering from our shock and just going about building the game.
And what number did it hit, Chris?
It hit $4.1 million. That was pretty amazing. We were like, what?
So it's just been stretch goal after stretch goal after stretch goal.
And considering that the funding happened so quickly on that first day, we were actually shocked and terrified, and then we actually had to start jumping on stretch goals much, much faster than we thought.
So has the scope of the game that you guys have been developing with Project Eternity, has it changed now that you know that you have all of this extra money to play with?
It hasn't really changed much from what we've announced, mostly because we know how much resources it takes to make all the stretch goal levels and how much designers will take to make the companions. So the scope hasn't increased hugely from what we've announced, but it's mostly just now you want to take out the extra funds to make sure we polish it off and make a good polished experience.
Obsidian's been around for a while, and you've always had mainstream publisher support. Why this sudden move to go to a crowdfunding model rather than chatting to the EAs or the Activisions or the THQs and saying, hey, we're going to do this old school RPG?
Mostly because the title old school is something that actually sets publishers off in the sense it might be alienating the market, and because it would only be a PC only game, that's also something that they're not really receptive to. So it seemed like Kickstarter was the best means of actually bringing this game to completion.
Do you think that once the publishers actually see that this sort of game is getting this sort of completely rabid support, do you think that they might start supporting more of the old school sort of style of games?
I'm not exactly sure. I think if the game comes out and then it sells like 1 million copies, aside from the backers that already bought into the title, I think that would make publishers sit up and take notice and go, oh, there is a viable market out there. But with only like 70,000 backers on Kickstarter and even like 4.1 million still isn't enough to actually make publishers get out of bed in the morning. Like they can go through funds like that relatively quickly, so it doesn't really register on their radar. But if on release it actually sells a great many copies, I think that would make them pay attention to the genre again, make them realize that it's not dead.
So you're saying that even the 70,000 people who have just they're frothing at the mouth wanting to get their hands on this, they're not a drop in the bucket compared to the mainstream big name titles?
It's a different model with publishers because having 70,000 people buy a title isn't that much to them at all. What Kickstarter is kind of cool about is that backers can pay like 10 times or 20 times the amount for a game to get extra special items or actually be part of the development process or get like cool items or venturing parties in there. And that's a cool element that Kickstarter allows for, but publishers don't actually have that recourse when they're actually doing development. So it's kind of 2 different things.
Were you surprised at what people would pay money to have?
Yeah, and it's interesting because Kickstarter usually only allows for like 10,000 of the top reward tier, but I'm positive that there are people that would have paid more than that. So just the thought that people would be willing to shell out that amount of money is flattering and terrifying.
I mean, there's no pressure, obviously.
Oh, no, not at all. Not in the slightest.
So what do you do at Obsidian? I mean, you're working on these two games. You've been working on these other ones. What does your job entail?
My job actually changes almost every single day. For the most part, recently, I've been doing just a lot of area design for how to lay out levels in Wasteland 2, doing a lot of character writing for both projects. Although actually it's been more for Wasteland 2 recently because we're getting a lot of the story elements wrapped up for Eternity. But otherwise, like, there's a lot of owner stuff to take care of in terms of, like, you know, are the production pipelines working? Like, are we getting all the reports in? Have we reviewed the reports? How's all the budgeting stuff going? So, like, in addition to all the fun stuff, there's also some management stuff to take care of as well.
Is it challenging trying to keep track of two games at once?
I thought it would be, but because I basically spend 2 days a week at an Exile where Wasteland 2 is being developed, because I can start the day fresh there and just focus on that one title, that makes the process just a little bit easier.
So you are actually able to geographically change things, and once something's left on a project, you don't have to shuffle around your desk to try and find the other one.
Exactly.
Well, that does make things a bit more convenient. I wasn't sure if it would just be, you know, oh, I don't want to work on this one today. I feel like some fantasy work, none of this post-apocalyptic stuff.
No, but it's really good to switch up gears of the brain when you're writing for those two different settings, and it's actually kind of liberating.
What happens if you get to work on one day and your brain is just in completely the wrong world?
Actually, that's never happened. Actually.
It will now.
Oh my God, now I'm thinking about it too much. It will happen.
Do we have any dates that have been thrown around for either game yet? I know it's a dangerous question.
No, for Eternity, it's April 2014. And actually, unfortunately, the Wasteland one escapes me at the moment. I mostly been just focusing on the pre-production milestone.
Yep. And with Project Eternity, that obviously has a rabid fan base and hasn't really gotten terribly far into the development. You guys talking about sequels yet?
Yes. What we'd like to do is, because it's our own homegrown world, we're very, very excited about it. And the idea of being able to do sequels and expansions, or even do things like maybe comic books or novellas or novels set in that world, all those possibilities are really exciting to us because, you know, it's finally a world to call our own, and we want to develop it as much as possible.
You can do whatever you want. There's no license holder saying, no, that character would never say that.
Exactly. Now our days are just filled with yes.
Oh, it's so liberating, but at the same time, isn't it scary knowing that you can do anything?
No, actually, that part isn't scary at all because of all the titles that we've worked on, it's not like we've never had an original idea of our own. This is just an opportunity where we can express all of it in one world that we've created, and we have plenty of ideas that we've built up over the years. So Eternity is going to be pretty cool as a result of that.
Excellent. We're very, very much looking forward to it. Thank you so much for your time.
Hey, thank you very much.